Ah, there's a knife! Hello! Not sure everyone has a bottom. Still not sure. To be fair, I haven't checked. I've checked very few people. Hi. I believe in you. And by I believe in you, I mean there's plenty of evidence to support this hypothesis that you're really good. I'm
gonna fucking die here, Jack!
That's what the knife's for, I guess. Hello! Everyone check that you have a bottom. Pretty sure, yeah. You're welcome. Was that for the compliment or for the checking that I have a bottom? Who knows? Hi. Hi, Doc. Hi, Chip. Hi, Miss. Hi, Bear. And hello, anyone else who may be there, but has not yet spoken, or chooses not to speak. Fully understandable. I never do. Except in Chip's stream, where I don't shut up. Hello! Howdy doodly hoodle howle. Let's get some music, because it's a chat stream. And I won't be interesting for a solid 2 hours, so... Don't humor the bots? Humor the bots? What? The bottoms. Is that short for bottoms? Let's get Muzak. Doobity-doo. Let's do good old Louis-Ong. Background. Happy surf music. Chit-chat. We're chit-chatting. So today, and doodling as well. But I don't want to call this an art stream. I think that's reasonable. Yeah, so we are gonna doodle and talk about the story, the plot. Oh, hello. You go away there. Oh wow, did I set this scene up like just on the cusp of this bit being visible? If I squash it anymore, it becomes like a single column, and that's really annoying. It's like a pixel in. Wow. You can't see this, but it's very annoying. There's a snip. There they are. I doodled them as the music was playing. Hi. Are we having a good Wednesday? We're having a lovely Wednesday. If not, there will be repercussions for whoever set up your Wednesday for you. I think it's Wednesday. I've said Wednesday enough that it should be. I've manifested it into existence. RPGs was fun. RPGs, RPGs. Well, I hope you have had enough storytelling today, because this stream is all about storytelling. We didn't let the girl drown. We managed to avoid drowning. That's literally what that quote is. We'll get to that, I'm sure, in a future draw through. But for now, that's like my favorite quote from that game. I didn't know that she was going to drown, and yet you stopped it. So I can only assume this was an accident. I don't know what's going on with those legs. Don't put joints over other parts of their leg where there might also be another joint. That makes a bit more sense. But yeah, so today on the stream, we are going to go through the story of Dead Island 1 and 2, by which I mean 1 and Riptide, 2 isn't out yet. And we're going to take the bits that we think work, and we're going to take bits that we don't think work, and we're going to throw the latter away, and we're going to work with the former to make them into something actually interesting. Because I'll be perfectly honest, I remember basically none of it, and given that I played 2 entire games, with cutscenes and all, and I know nothing about the 4 characters that were going all the way through them. I think that's telling of something. We just assumed she got kidnapped, but then the fisherman who kidnapped her tried to sacrifice her to the lake. Oh, that's fine, great, wonderful. Didn't tell you how to draw. What did I tell? Who? Add a bottom. There you go. It's a bit of arts advice. Sacristy. By sacrifice, we mean just throw her in a sack. Sacrifice, like a bundle of kittens. Riptide had no story, that is true. The mod that crashed Kira's game didn't work. I mean, we could turn it into a weird narrative where there's like, that's when they realize they're in a game. I don't think we're going to take it that way, but it's a possibility. Break the fourth wall zombie movie. Why not? We're not going to go meta with this? No. If the Outliers are in it, they would. Riptide had 5 story elements, three of those were at the end. Yeah, and 2 of them were in the opening cutscene. So. Watching, drawing, and eating. Marvelous. Okay, so we probably should start with the characters, right? Because there are good characters in this game, or at least there are good starts to characters in these games. So I'll doodle them while we're chatting. The Outliers aren't in it now, are they? I was going to do a Dead Island. Why we didn't finish Dead Island, I just haven't had the time yet. There's potential for good, albeit not nice characters. Oh yeah. The characters are awful, but I quite like that. It's not often you play a game where your characters are just unashamedly, really just not nice people. And they're just constantly fighting with each other. That's fun. That's why I want to play Kuldelka. Apparently I've got to draw people. I haven't drawn people today. I have drawn today. Haven't drawn people. So, yeah. How do people work? Won't do full body things. Right, so he's got himself a big old stick. This guy. You know him, you love him. It's the rapper. Who's a rapper who has a failed rap career and is angry about that? Alcoholic, I think, and that's basically his superpower. Was there? I was about to say, was there any reason he was a rapper in the story? Of course not. There's no reason anybody's anything in the story. If you genuinely like it, you don't even have to draw. Hey, Shauna's best girl, you'll hear nothing against her. Well, hopefully we can make that even better, because I don't remember anything about anyone, so... Big old eyebrows. Love me some big old eyebrows. This is just a doodle. So we have, so with our characters, we have a rap guy, who is somebody who's had like a one-hit wonder with a song, and then for some reason got disgraced, or there was some sort of thing. Sam B, that's the one. The return of I haven't drawn anything today. To be fair, that prompt has not been accurate at all this year. I have drawn something every day, so, and I'm gonna try and keep that up where possible. How do head things work? How do heads in general, but also like bandanas and stuff. Looking a little bit like a cross between Barrett and Wedge here. Sorry, Beef and Wide Jesse. Sambi was a one-hit wonder. When he tried anything else, he got shut down. He eventually became depressed. They only wanted the one song, so just went from show to show across Holiday Resort. That makes sense. That's a good reason to have a character there. I always assumed, like... So one of the characters is, like, secret police, right? And obviously you got the person in Riptide who's, like, super hard, heavy champion, strong fight man. So I kind of assumed that the backstories were to give an excuse as to why your characters are really good at combat. But I don't know exactly how rapping helps. I don't know a lot about the world of rap, but is there a lot of, like, zombie fighting in it? Is that a thing? Pretty sure not. What I'm saying is, I want there to be some reason the character, or there's some, not necessarily a reason, I don't want it to be like, oh, coincidentally you're a rapper, so this really helps. No. It would be nice if, like, there's some plot element that we can sort of go, you know, this was used in some fashion in the story. Whether, not coincidentally, but, you know, it was as a consequence of this character's experience in this world or life that this could happen, or that they chose to do this, or what have you. That's the thing I like about characters in things, is that I want their life experiences to actually affect the things that happen. Beef Jesse. That sounds like a meal. Logan was an asshole. He lived an asshole's life. And that's fine. I think he's holding... What is he holding in this picture? I don't know. A hammer? I think it was a hammer. He's also not touching his shoulders, so I don't exactly know how this is working. There's part of me that's like, this is just a silly little doodle stream, and it doesn't really matter if I draw anything that is in any way meaningful or accurate or good. And then there's another part of me that's like, there are good artists in chat. And they draw good things, and they're drawing good things now, and I feel like, I've drawn this. What's this? This isn't human. He's got a jacket. That's what he's got. Samby lived in ghetto and tried rapping to get out. Okay, so there's a bit of like dealing with a tumultuous upbringing. The problem with the word ghetto, right, is that the first time I ever came across the word ghetto was in a very, very old dictionary that we had. I think we still have it. And I used to just sort of flip through and find random words I didn't recognize when I was a kid. And ghetto was in there, and it was defined as the Jewish quarter of a city. And that is now just ingrained in my head whenever I see the word ghetto. I can't get it out. It's like, that meaning has definitely changed over time, but it's still there in my head. Yes, but we're here because we like your art. Really? Look at this. Logan's pretty much an asshole. Read through his backstory a couple of days ago. Star football player of an American variant. Did lots of drunk driving, got into a car crash which killed his passenger, went to jail for that, then did some more football in Canada, is still kind of a superstar being drunk, and he got invited to the resort for that, you believe? Okay, so we can work with that somehow. There's a point where the character needs something, but there's zombies in the way, and he throws it really far. No, we can do better than that. But like, incorporate things. You're not late, Kara. Look at that. You're late for this amazing drawing. Look at this. How do hands work? I don't know how hands work. You're late for the best drawing you ever did see. Because that's gone now, and now you're looking at this. Yeah, he's got his big bling coat. Yeah, what I want, I just want to incorporate the characters' backstories into the story somehow. That would be nice. But more importantly, it would be nice if the events that happen over the course of the game in some way affect later events, and the characters maybe also. How do muscles work? Like that, right? Them's be muscles. Them's be muscles. This is Sam. The B is silent. Thank you. Yeah, so we have that. Okay, so this is Samb. He's famous for a one-hit wonder, which was not Samba, which is a shame. And he's a rapper. He's got some issues with the fact that nobody likes anything he does other than the one-hit wonder that he has. That makes sense. I'm wondering if we have like... There's Samb, who... It's one hit, Hoodoo Voodoo Bitch. Yes, we've heard the song about 20 times for both games. Oh, they did a whole music video. Wow. Okay. Oh, No Room in Hell. That's a different song. Maybe got into a lot of debt. Just an idea. The thing I was thinking was, if we have Sam B, who's like a rapper who was famous, and kind of is still famous, but isn't dealing with the success very well, because it's very, very limited success. But we also have Logan, who is apparently successful, but isn't dealing with the success very well. I want there to be some sort of separation between these two characters. Like, maybe one is still like, maybe Logan's like just really unpleasant about it, and like just constantly sort of internally bigging himself up like he's absolutely amazing. But Sam is a bit more like just depressed about the whole situation. Like he's let the sort of naysayers get to him, and is like, no, I should just do this one thing. It's one of the other songs he tried, and it's actually really good. There we go. Look at that. I like the idea of the debt collectors, and that gives an excuse for the characters to constantly run around stealing everyone's money. But at the same time, it's one of those things of like, if it's a zombie apocalypse, how long's that story gonna go for? Because, you know, it's a zombie apocalypse. You know, it's nice to have a reason for smugglage. Is Sam. I have not done his proportions justice. It's very beefy. I can't draw beef. Jib, help. Then Logan, yes, other arse.
My daughter.
It's Jib's daughter. It'd definitely be a thing of Sam being like, take what you can get, you don't know when it'll stop, and Logan's just drunk going, I'm the best guy ever and I will never die. I like that. I like the idea of, if we're going to explore this idea of like everybody in this game is horrible, it's quite nice for the two characters to sort of have different perspectives on having a very similar sort of start. Well, not start, but a very similar sort of road to where they are. I mean, I don't know Logan's like back story. I can imagine he was not in the Jewish quarter of the city. If you weren't there at the beginning of the stream, that sounds weird. There he is. Logan. Here, blep. Still blep. Okay, so that's already an idea. We have an idea already. Conflict between the characters who are like... when the characters have opportunities to actually talk. You know? At a point in the story when presumably they're like stuck in a building or something together and plot has to happen. They're just told to wait by a character. Wait, and then we'll go off and do something else. And the characters end up having to speak to each other because there's nothing else to do. Let him play. Okay, fine. Trying a more sort of sketchy thing. Give it a weird order of yours if he does not blab. Yes, we got that. I like that dynamic, that's fun. What do the other two characters do? There's Perna and Shan. I think. I can't remember which one's which. Because I was playing as one of them, and for some reason I kept thinking I was playing as the other one. And also the characterization doesn't affect the gameplay at all, so... Perna is mine. Nice, cool. And yes, I'm the one in purple. Got it. Purple is Perna's purple. Easy to remember. You're wrong about Sam. His dad went to prison and died. His mum did all the drugs and sex, and so his nana raised him. Liked old school rap, and finally caught his break with a throwaway Halloween song. Got it. Voodoo. He did the Monster Mash. Perna's a former officer of the Sydney Police Department, and as such, he is an expert at firearms. That makes sense. After losing her career when she shot a child molester who could not be touched legally because of his wealth and connections, that's straight out of like a canon film. Perna then turned to working as a bodyguard for VIPs in dangerous places all over the world, contrary to her selection info. She is hired not just for her skills, but her looks, as wealthy men do not mind showing up with Perna on their arms. She's still very bitter over Wiki for the win. I'm also bitter over Wikipedia's market dominance. How do hands work? Like that, right? It's fine. She's still very bitter over losing her career, has a deep hatred of people with enough money to ignore legalities, keeps very much to herself, and wishes to finish off the child molester that caused her to lose her job. She shot but did not kill, I guess. Right, okay. That makes sense. Well, okay, so there might be a thing there of, like... Presumably there's going to be children at this resort somewhere, right? I mean, I don't think we found any in the game, did we? But that might be a thing, you know? And I don't want this to be like, oh, the woman, she has, obviously, maternal instincts, there's kid, oh, she's got to protect kid. But I think she's more like, kill anything attacking the kid. Maybe she's really bad with kids. Don't know why that didn't show up as Twitch. Sounds like the type of person who would get along horribly with Logan. Yeah. See, look, potential character interactions. It's great. And we haven't even gotten to, like, you know, what's going to happen in the story. Oh, hands. Why didn't I think about drawing a hand? This is a silly idea. This is why I didn't call it an art stream. It's fine. Bad enough trying to draw Mal sticking up his middle finger. Now with somebody who actually looks like a human. It's that arm. That's not an arm. This is horrible, gangly, half-human creature. The only actual trained fighters are Perna, Shan, and John. Yeah, that's probably why they introduced another character that has a reason to fight. Well, I guess if Logan's an American footballer, right? So that's kind of like, you know, short of being a hockey player, that's pretty good qualification for being good in a brawl, right? Right, there's that. I should really just be trying to draw these in the poses of the pictures I see them. I don't know why I'm reposing. Ice hockey is a blood sport, that is true. So under the ice isn't red. Shan was trained by her father and later the Hong Kong police. Then sexism happened, so they didn't so they didn't send her out into the field, and then she got sent out to do spy on the island, and she wants the opportunity to prove herself. That makes sense. Right, so let's do. So the concept art for this game is pretty cool. some good. I like. Look at that. Look at this. We never see this. Look at that. That's way more expressive than any character that is actually in the game. That's a cool image for a zombie game. Yeah, look at normal eyes. Eyes that don't look like they're somehow bioluminescent. Yeah, that game looks cool. Logan's thing is he's technically a jack of all trades, you just played him knife heavy. Nah, I want him to have a story where he's good with knives. Brett Riverbolt, Knife Man. Oh yeah, Cheeb, have you drawn that thing from Red Dwarf yet? Yeah, I happened to mention, I can't remember when I mentioned it, that when we did the last wiki stream, one of the options for something from Red Dwarf that could have been drawn, which we didn't pick unfortunately, were the Apocalypse Boys, who are also known as the Gunmen of the Apocalypse, who are incarnations of the Four Horsemen who are cowboys. Basically, they're technically a computer virus. It's sci-fi, don't worry about it. Not yet, you wouldn't have known if you had drawn that. And as soon as I mentioned that, Sheep got very excited. And when Sheep gets excited about something, I get excited about the consequences, i.e. real cool art. But hey, no pressure. Because if you're anything like me, boy howdy, you have 7 billion other things to do first. If in doubt, shoulders up, hip the other way. How does face? What sort of a little bit sharp. So things. This is Sheen, right? But as if you know what I'm drawing. Yes, this is obviously this is Sheen. We're done with that. Boom. At least do the hair. Come on. All right. Bit too voluminous there. Importantly, she enters the martial arts since she was 10. Finished top of her class in university, so she's actually really smart and skilled, but you know, sexism. Yeah. So that's a thing. There's something that isn't really explored. I mean, I don't want to turn this into like, hey, let's explore every possible thing that a character can be defiant against and make all of the characters argue constantly about every possible issue. I'm thinking like, what have we got? You know? Because there's a lot of ammunition in this game for potentially interesting storylines. And it does like none of it, so she's got like mascara on, right? She is undercover as waitress, waitstaff. A longer nose than that, but no, that's a doodle, whatever. Also smaller eyes and less dead. This is a speedrun to draw worse eyes than the game. Why am I focusing on drawing eyes when I could just do gestural like that? You have a skull, as far as I'm aware. I've noticed a lot of the backstories mention 10 as the important age of things happening. This is clearly the reason they're all connected. Because the number 10. This doesn't look anything like her. But don't worry about it. Why doesn't it look anything like her? I've sort of mentioned many times before, I had no real intention of ever actually becoming an artist. But the one thing I always found very impressive when I was younger with art, and the thing I thought, oh, that'd be nice to be able to do that, was portraits. And it's the thing I'm worst at. Well, mechs. The wiki does mention specifically that the zombie apocalypse is her way to prove herself, which at least implies that she sees it that way, which is an interesting concept. Of these guys that are trying to survive, but there's also this person who doesn't see their own needs or even the needs of others, but just sees it as a way to prove herself. That's cool. That's a cool idea. Even the wiki has better ideas than the game. Stick out that far. Rib cages only go so far. Wait, no, hang on. It's making it go that way, wasn't I? That's why it was sticking out that far. Let's see. Misinterpreted how this rib cage is supposed to be facing. Why am I focusing on rib cages? This is a story and or doodle stream. Signed up to honor her father and protect people, which is why she despises the spying. So actually getting a chance to protect people makes sense. Yeah. So again, I guess we've kind of got like the two male characters are all about sort of not all about ego necessarily. Sam B's a bit more about just sort of feeling hard done by. Whereas the two female characters are more about sort of duty or protection or something like that. And again, they could probably have like a different perspective on that. Favorite song? Yeah, what was that? That was the Duck Boss song. From Boss Rush. Yes, Maladaptive Mallard Quackpot. That's what that song's called. I'm really annoyed as to why this doesn't look like that, but it's fine. I need to do more practice for faces. I can't put your hands in a pocket, can I? Because you don't have pockets. Everyone, but why do, of all the people, surely waitstaff should have pockets, right? You gotta carry loads of stuff. She could have the hero mentality, which causes as many problems as it solves. Yes, I mean, you could even have one of those situations of like, where people deliberately cause problems so that they can solve them and become the hero. I can't remember what that's called. But like, there could be an instance where like the character stumbles upon a I'm trying to think of an example, like a car teetering off the edge of a cliff or something like that, and it's just surreptitiously goes, if I just knock it over slightly, then it'll fall down a little bit. It won't crash all the way down, but enough that we can then rescue people out of the car. Makes her an interesting opposition to Perna, who tried to be a hero and got punished for it, so probably doesn't want that anymore. Yeah, they just want the how do ties work? How does anything work? Why do we draw? This is a terrible choice. How do boobs work? Jib, help. I'd tell you what, looking at this picture, if I were in a very hot desert island, in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, the first thing I would do is I would unbutton my cuffs and roll up my sleeves. I'm not wearing a proper full-length, full-sleeved shirt. I'm restrictive on the arms while you're swinging stuff. It's gonna stop you being able to swing the chainsaw well. Anyway, here's Shan. You mean you'd also take off your pumps, but Shan is different. To be fair, it does give good kicking powers, so that's fair enough. Yes, and finally we have Perna. They're getting progressively smaller, don't worry about it. More boss rush. She's got the kind of fierce eyebrow thing, which is relatively easy to do if I have drawn Malachi enough. Even with me and eyes today, it's not going well. She has the balance and skill to walk on sand in heels. It's an impressive feat. Probably turn all their motivations into ego things now that you think about it. Ego theme. That works. Like, again, I don't necessarily want to turn this into, you know... And then they all learned to stop being so egotistical and start thinking about other people, etc., etc. I don't want it to be, you know, quite so... I don't necessarily want horrible people to always turn into lovely, nice people by the end of the game, and they all learned a valuable lesson. I'm quite happy with horrible people remaining horrible people for the purposes of a story. This is a disaster story. But it's nice to explore these things and how they will interact. How they should interact, in my personal opinion. Feel free to disagree. Feel free to think that Dead Island actually had a really good story. I'm not going to stop you, because I have no point. There's no purpose with me arguing with people who have no taste. They're going to learn some things, but they can still remain horrible. Yeah. So you've got that thing where there's like a ring there, and then it's sort of strap goes up and around the neck. You probably also have a torso. These things are important, I've discovered. Drawing dresses is much harder when there's like the anatomy is not basically flat. Contours are hard. There's a lot wrong with this. Then it is for a start. You don't have hands. What was your name? Perna. And maybe also the hard McKnuckle man? And they all learn to direct their hatred towards each other to something else in the end. Yeah, like zombies. And or mega pharmaceutical corporations. And or politicians. And or bioterrorists. There's a lot of villains in this game. That seems fair enough. It sort of makes sense that there's a bunch of different people who are all sort of self-interested, because you are as well. If they do start caring about people, it's probably about their group and not everyone else. Found family, but they're all assholes. Found family, but you see them interact and think, do they even like each other? Yeah. John Morgan, he's based off Fist of the North Star. What's that when it's at home? It's an Amanu. It's an animal. Hey, we said similar things. People look very angry in it. It was one of those where all of the muscles are defined as though they're like deep trenches. Like this. I don't know what's legitimate and what's fan art, but I looked at stuff like that and I just thought to myself, that looks like when I try and import a normal map into Blender to give things like bumps, and I import it wrong. That's what that looks like. So, oh no, I've done something wrong. It looks like there's endless black holes where there should just be a bump. That is a very specific reference. For people who have not done 3D modeling, that doesn't make any sense, but looks JoJo-y. Also, you're only now realizing the irony between Logan ending up in jail for drunk and reckless driving and you constantly driving the car. Wonderful. Yes. Fantastic. like parent, like child. Right, so here are our approximate characters. We have. I'm good. I feel like I should spell it like that because I believe that to me there's a difference between these two. You know what I mean? These are two different words. They have two different meanings. Very similar meanings, but different. So I'm gonna go with this one. Hang on, I could probably save myself a bit of time here. No. So there's the main points. This guy's got like a chip on his shoulder. Chip on both shoulders. Probably has issues with authority. That makes sense. Because there's probably always like higher ups to keep saying no, no, no. John was born in Benoit. His granddad was a soldier in World War II and never left. His dad was a sergeant major, so he's from a military family. When they say, hey, let's nuke the place, he said no and got locked up. Fair enough. Are we going to have him in this story? I mean, we're an hour in and we haven't really talked about the story at all yet. Talked about a bunch of character stuff. So that makes sense. Ego. He's the best. Number one driver. EU. He's connected to the soldiers in the area, so he could have been from a convoy there that got attacked and he wound up on the beach with the others. Maybe that could lead to an interesting thing of like he joined your party for a bit in this story and like then when they start attacking and we have to start attacking back, he has a bit of a thing of like, these I know these people. By the way, this is why I usually write in capital letters on stream, because my handwriting is awful. Xian, wants to prove herself. Maybe too much. I was about to say doesn't like being told no, but again, that's one of those ones I could probably put that down here, really. He's the only actual local, so he could be like a guide. Interesting. There are a bunch of other characters in the game as well that we should probably think about, like villains and allies. And, there's Cinnamon, for example. I feel like Cinnamon could probably have played a bigger part. One of the things I thought was going to happen was John gets turned into an NPC, found family dad against his will. Yes, Cinnamon, that's the one. Yeah, one of the things I thought was going to happen in the first game is there was a group of survivors in the lifeguard place, and there was a group of survivors in the lighthouse. And I thought there was going to be a bit of a thing, like a kind of rivalry almost, of like, no, we want the supplies, no, they want the supplies. It's like, no, we're not going to help you, we're trying to survive ourselves, etc. Turns out, not really. Nothing happened, because... It's this game. Partner. also wants to prove herself. Self, but mostly revenge. Don't touch the kids. TM. No. I'm not trademarking the kids. Trademarking the phrase. Dead like in Riptide, you have a little group of survivors you have to take care of, though it would have been nice to, you know, actually care for them. Yeah, it would have been interesting. So, okay, small, quick ideas. Idea board. 1. Characters start as assholes, end as slightly less of a group of assholes. Sam and Logan butt heads over ego. Sean and Perna butt heads over heroics. That's a simple, essential motif for those pairs of characters. We can also do some cross interactions as well, but that seems an obvious one at the very least, or obvious pair. 3, actually protecting groups of survivors. The system, they have little missions for you, and they can get upgraded the more you do missions for them is neat, but you don't remember their names. Yeah. Would be nice if their sort of missions had presented sort of more interesting character-driven things. As it stood, it was just like, do you have this item? No. Do you have this item? Maybe. Have we ever seen titanium pipe anywhere? Sorry, aluminium pipe. Don't remember Henry because his quest reward always had to do with magic wands. Oh, you only remember Henry. Magic wands? Jean getting introduced earlier with her dad, so we can actually get attached to her. Yes, I forgot about that. Okay, storage. Storage plus dad story. That's the most obvious thing that can be changed. Introduced earlier to establish emotional connection. And maybe you have a thing of like, when you first meet the storage and the dads were like, oh, he's injured, it's fine though, don't worry, but she actually knows that he's been bitten by something, and then she learns that like, oh, the biting is that's what causes them to turn into that, and she's like, oh god, that's gonna happen to my dad, but she doesn't tell anyone, and then the group find out later, and it's like, oh, why didn't you tell us? It's like, it's my dad, and then the dad runs off and she's got to go find him, and then she has a gun and it's like, I'm sorry. Like I say, it doesn't have to be a unique story. I'm sure zombie films have got all of these storylines covered, right? We're not going to come up with anything truly original. We just want to come up with something. There's a great setup for Sam versus Sean rivalry and Perna versus Logan rivalry. Fantastic. Considering Sam kind of gave up and just stuck with his one-hit wonder, and Sean keeps trying to prove herself, so that, she just thinks he's given up. Well, for him, that's the best thing he could do. And for Logan and Perna, it's obviously that Perna doesn't like that Logan is a rich, famous asshole that keeps getting away with stuff, and Logan probably thinks she's stuck up. Yes, good. So, yeah. Over here. 2.5. Sam plus Shen butt heads over giving up versus sticking it out. Knowing when to quit, basically. And maybe there's some sort of scenario in which that occurs in the game, where there is some sort of challenge that needs to be met, but, oh no, hang on, the circumstances aren't right, there isn't enough time, we don't actually have enough resources, if we do this, we're probably just going to fail and make things worse. And it's like, no, we can't give up, we can't give up, no, learn to know when to cut it, etc. And maybe Sean's sort of reckless, like, no, we must do this thing, we must save the thing, never give up, and then it just makes everything worse. But then also something later where actually not sticking in for it. What's the expression? There is an expression. I'm sure it exists. But yeah, it's another situation where actually, you know, going for it when the time is right is important, even if you think you might have failed. Actually, no, trying was worth it. So that's cool. Knowing when to quit. And Logan and Burner butt heads over Logan being a rich asshole. I'm gonna write this a lot. With no consequences, let's say. Maybe Jin's dad goes out with the heroes, gets bitten, but asks them not to tell her, so she's not distracted and has a better chance of getting away. So the shooting dead thing later has more impact. That's a better idea. That's cool. I like that. Yeah, he's like, if I tell her this, she's gonna want to stay behind. She's got a better chance if she thinks I'm fine. Yeah, that works. Cool. 4.1. There's 2.5 and 4.1. We have a good numbering system here. Are we going with like the 2.5? This is in between 2 and 3, or are we going with the section numbering system in, like, you know, a LaTeX document? Storage and dad store introduced earlier to establish emotional connection. 4.1. Baby dad bitten, but tells heroes not to tell storage. I'm still going to call it storage. That she doesn't risk herself by sticking around, etc. More heft to shooting scene. Also, apologies for always writing at a weird angle. It's just it's natural to draw at a slight diagonal, and I can't turn my drawing tablet like I usually do with a piece of paper. Planet vs. Logan is very much this is how the world is supposed to work. Yeah, but well, this isn't how the world's supposed to work. Yeah, but it doesn't. I'm going to use it to my advantage, kind of thing. Fair enough. Gonna just didn't really help, but something. Also, just realised I wrote knowing. Knowing. Bit extreme. Ah. Actually protecting groups of survivors, possible rivalries between survivor groups. Which is maybe then patched up when the military get involved and like, oh god, well, the military are killing all of us, so we should probably work together. Anyway, John gets promoted to team dad, and God, he'd rather be anywhere else. 6. John is... hang on. World. Hard. Dad bat champion. Gonna have to get him a new t-shirt. Yeah. One of those mugs is like #1 dad, but it says that. It's just like I've tried to design characters before, right? And I've tried to make characters in 3D, but it's very much like you can see, you know, concept art. Look at that. That's real cool. Great bit of concept art. Fantastic work. And then, like, you know, oh, we have Perna at home. Like... It's hard. Modeling characters is hard. But, like, just... That's what was in their heads, and that's what happened. I've been there. It's not a nice feeling. But nice to have John about if there's defense missions, so there's actually somebody who'd be competent at fighting, somebody who could like organize the groups of people and like have some sort of, yeah, that's cool. 7. John acts as coordinator for defense missions. Becomes sort of de facto dad leader, practically speaking. People just constantly sort of turning him for like, how do we do this? What do we do with guns? How do they work? He's like, I don't know. I was in prison an hour ago. These poor characters. No one's having a good time. This is a zombie apocalypse. No one's having a good time, and they're not allowed to enjoy this. There's presumably one diagonal we haven't explored here, right? We've got Sam and Logan, Sam and Shan. So what's Sam and Perna's deal, and what's Logan and Shan's deal? Maybe they don't have to have a deal. Not every character has to interact with every other character, but... It's an option on the table. What else was there? There was something else? Oh yeah, 8. This is my own personal edition. Use the bloody... hotel. Sorry, it's just all the way through the first game I was like, the real cool big thing's gonna happen in a hotel, right? It's this massive landmark right in the center of the entire island. We have info on Dead Island? 6 characters? Do you mean Dead Island 2? 2, yes. 2 factorial? No, that's 2. 3 factorial is 6. Maths jokes. Could just be like a tired companionship of just like these other guys. I like that idea. I like the idea that that's actually like a pairing that kind of works. Of like, they don't necessarily have anything in common, but they don't immediately grate against each other. So we're just gonna stay together just so we can take a breather. 6 characters. So I got pictures up for like when I was just searching Dead Island characters, and they got some Dead Island 2 stuff. They're all 4, so it'd be interesting to see what's going on with that. Is it going to be a 6-player game, maybe? Or maybe it's just 6 options. Did you ever get more than 1 outfit? Sorry, I've just seen this. There's some concept art for Riptide. And I remember that there was the ability to change outfits in the game. And I did check it like either in the last stream or the stream before last. And there was still only 1 option in there. Is there some way of unlocking more costumes? Because all of these characters are clearly made in a character creator, right? This was not like they made bespoke models for everybody. Maybe they did for like the CG cutscenes, but not in game. So if you're gonna do a procedurally generated sort of character creator, presumably unlockable costumes wouldn't be that difficult. This has nothing to do with the story. I just feel like it's a missed opportunity. Jacob the Blackfellow, Amy the gal with the prosthetic, Ryan a male stripper, Danny who works in a roller derby, Carla a stunt woman. That's 5. So who's who? We have Molotov, that stripper. Roller derby? You, maybe? Prosthetic? There, it's got like straps. I don't know. No info on the 6th. Surprises. Is it gonna be a returning character, maybe? Like in any other scenario, they would just kind of never meet, but they're stuck with these guys that really piss them off. There's one person that doesn't immediately make them want to murder someone, so just, it's fine. Yeah. But sort of... Our system here doesn't quite allow for expansion. Oop, that's not where I wanted. 2.5.1. This is Sam and Perna / Logan and Sheehan. I can't imagine Logan and Sheehan would get on, really, would they? Well, not get on, but I don't know. I have difficulty imagining Logan would get on with anyone. Is all. I think we'll just leave it at Sam and Perna for this. Not really a simpatico. But a relieving neutral. It's just a relief to be in the company of somebody you don't immediately hate. That was the old trailer. Dead Island 2 has been developed in hell since 2014. Wow. But hey, it sounds like they're getting somewhere. That's cool. Oh, hang on. Okay, so Dark has got some... Oh, yeah, they've changed quite a lot. Hang on, I'm just opening them so we can see on the stream. Right, there's this guy who wears jeans and has sword. There's this person who has big old electric stick, flaming stick. Flaming stick. It's got like is that like a double-bladed thing? Electric and flamethrower. Sure. Looks very Kill Bill, I feel. Look at my ass. Make sure you photograph my good side. It sticks out, but booty shot. He's the stripper. That I have no difficulty believing this. Also hammer and coffee. You have this cool looking gal. Or person, I don't want to be, shouldn't be presumptuous. Who has gun and cool hair. And then them with axe. I wouldn't hold it like that because you're gonna jab your arm with the axe. It's really sharp on the other end. Sports? Cars? Cars. I'm thinking cars. Stunt woman. Okay, that makes sense, yeah. Sorry, I forgot literally everything you said because I have half the brain of half a goldfish. Half the brain of half a goldfish. Am love. The problem looking at this, right, my own personal issue that I have, and it's probably a bit difficult to see on stream, is cool design, stunt woman, just gonna be kick-ass, all that sort of stuff. But like, have a zoom, has chosen the loopy earrings, which feels like a danger in itself. I'm sure she doesn't wear them during stunts, but I always look at those and go, ooh, that's dangerous. I hate those things, they make me paranoid. It's my own personal thing, I understand. But, yeah. Not really your first concern in the zombie apocalypse, but, not something you want to wear during the stunt things or during the apocalypse, no. Good way to lose an earlobe. I remember there was this one advert of like, I think it was like an anti-drinking advert or something, and basically it was like somebody getting ready to go out, but they were getting ready to go out by basically causing them all the physical damage that they're going to have by going out, and one of them was ripping out an earring, and it was just like, oh god, why is this on TV? Hate that. Glad none of the female characters are wearing heels. Yeah? I mean, one of them's wearing something that looks similar to a very big heel, but there's an obvious reason for that. We're talking practically, you shave your head so there's nothing to grab. Yeah, true. Or, you put your hair up like that, and you're fine. Anyway, back to our game. So these are all ideas for things that can happen, like piece by piece, lots of disparate groups of people, so on and so forth. Now we should probably talk about, hey, what's the story of this thing? Yeah, back to these assholes. Because we have like 5 potential villains in this game, all of whom could be villains, but I feel like there should be some actual like sequence of events occurring with them, you know what I mean? We're talking practically, you wouldn't shave and the ladies would have hairy legs. Ah, and then they're gonna grab onto the leg hair. But I think practically you would shave because apparently there are just blades everywhere in this world. You burn it off with a flamethrower. Yeah, you've completely forgotten all the villains. Right, so. Let's do Riptide, it's fresher in my mind. You have the business guy who is he in charge of the pharmaceutical company? He might be. You have the army, who are sort of helping him through that, helping him do the things he wants to do, even though he's not in charge of the army, but he kind of is. Leverage, business. Business guy, the guy right at the end who we basically just left to get punched by a zombie. Remember him? Because he wasn't actually military. Because he was in the opening cuts. He was at the beginning on the boat, and he was saying, "Oh yes, we're going to do this and we're going to do that." And the military guy was like, "Excuse me, you're not in charge here." Yeah, the guy we all wanted to murder, and we tried to murder, but the game wouldn't let us because he had to get punched by a zombie. Not blades you want to shave with, Tetanus Central. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if they got a flamethrower attached to them, you can, burn anything off it. I don't know how tetanus works. Don't trust me on medical advice. As he deserved, I guess. I mean, he also deserves the chainsaw that Kiro stuck into his chest. Rider what? Rider White. Sorry, I read that as Rider Waite, which was a type of tarot deck. Classic, if you think of an old tarot deck, that's the one. Rider White were getting introduced to be nicer earlier too. I don't know who's Rider White. You're going to need to be more specific, i.e. descriptive. Names are not our strong point in this game. Exactly. Yeah, there's also the scientists. Because there's one point where you go to a lab and they're like, hey, can you basically kidnap a native for us? So they can be villains. There's the terrorist. Is that the guy with... Yeah, the guy in the... Oh, the head military man. Oh, okay. The one whose wife was infected? I'm getting confused now. I thought that was the person who was the terrorist pretending to be someone else. No, yeah, his wife was infected because she was strapped to the helicopter at the end. He was. I thought, is he a military guy? I didn't realize he was a military guy. We scrapped the prison guy. I feel like with all the things we have, we probably don't need it, but I do like the idea of somebody who's like maybe not in that kind of, Riddler style fashion of, oh, I'm held up here and I'm pulling the strings and tricking everybody, etc., etc. But maybe like the idea of somebody who was sent on like an industrial sort of espionage thing of like, hey, these people are working on this weird chemical virus things, steal their secrets and whatnot, and they're undercover pretending to be somebody else, and then this all happens and they're like, well, I've probably got a better chance of actually getting this now. There's a lot of chaos going on. So I feel like you could have the chance of like a character who is like a kind of undercover terror espionage person, but maybe we don't need the whole cloak and dagger mystery prison thing. Do we need a prison? I want to think of it. Do we need a prison? Jurassic Park guy. Yeah, exactly. See, Ben knows what I'm talking about. Shaving foam. That was the only thing I remembered about that film when I was a kid. Not the dinosaurs, it was the shaving foam. I don't know why. Yeah, there can be somebody faking who we are. I don't think it should be the prison guy. I don't see the point of the prison at all. I mean, we are conglomerating two games into one, so we could probably just get rid of the prison and replace it with labs or something. Man on the radio is the terrorist pretending... What was the last place we were in? Oh, it was just like a warehouse by a dock, wasn't it? That was even more anticlimactic. Oh, we have... What's her face? The quote boss unquote of Riptide. We can have her. She acts as that Harlow. She can be the industrial espionage person, right? Man on the radio is the terrorist pretending to be Ryder. Oh, he's pretending to be Ryder. He's sending actual Ryder on missions to help his wife. while the hero's about, he's the one that steals the vaccine from them in the elevator. Like, we played this game. I didn't understand any of that. I understood it when you said it. I didn't understand it when we played it. Yeah, so we can have Harlow as that kind of replacement of the environmental terrorists. Was that what she ended up being? I know even less about what Harlow's deal was. She had like one monologue at the end where she didn't really... She talked about why she did what she did, but not what she did. That was what she actually was. Then she had a conscience after mutating that guy. Did she mutate someone deliberately? Don't know why we fought her. Me neither. I definitely don't know why we fought two of her. So that's an idea. We got that. That's a thing. Industrial terrorist, Harlow. So okay, let's make a villains thing and work out how to tie these together into some sort of narrative. Did we play the same game? I guess not. Is this like a Dead Space 3 thing? Where you saw different things to me? The one she saw got bitten and then was like, what the F? Yeah. But she didn't do that. She didn't mutate person, right? Did she? Was there something else happened somewhere in the middle? I forgot. Oh, yeah, Zach, were you? Yes. Apparently the Dead Space remake's quite good. Anyway, villains. Number 1, Harlow. Deep cover. Environmental. Terrorist. She's gonna poison the wine. She's a terrorist. What a terrible joke. So made him touch the green goo after he had got bitten. Did she? Then he turned into the bruiser. I remember none of this. I'm gonna have to go back and watch. Okay, well I can keep that. That feels like it could be a cool thing, but I feel like it should be made more of a thing. It all just seemed like a bit of a mess, I guess. And I missed like the details. Okay. Dark knows what happened. I don't. Kira and Chibi, how much of this do you remember? Show of hands, who remembers that happening? She left after that and we were dealing with Big Arm Guy. I remember the dealing with the guy. We had to jump down into this little area. I remember that bit. But I don't remember anything about her making him touch goo. Which is the opposite of touching grass, I guess. Shop guy from my little group got bitten. She saw that, didn't say anything. Because then she wanted to see what would happen. And I screamed, "This is what would happen, Harlow." I remember that. I don't remember the goo either. Gandalf, I have no memory of this place. I had to find that for a thing. I had to find the image of Gandalf going, "I have no memory of this place." And all I could find were memes of people writing different things as the caption, so I had to make it myself. Like, why? If anyone wants the picture with the actual caption, let me know. All the green going... You remember the green goo? Okay, so we've got, like... Here's the general, like, level I'm aiming at here. If 50% of the people playing your game have no memory of a major plot point, should probably make the cutscene different. Just my personal opinion. Yeah, I remember thinking Harlow was an idiot and have no idea why she actually did anything. Yeah, exactly. I remember thinking that. It's like, why aren't you doing... He's turning into the... Why are you letting him go? And she was just gone for a while, and then at the end it was like Harlow's a terrorist. Yeah, is that what happened? Plus, I mean, I don't even have a memory of that, to be honest. Yeah, that's everything as far as I'm aware. Exactly, that was my memory of this character. There was that weird cutscene where she acted strangely when somebody got bit. I remember that area. But I don't remember anything involving... I mean, there's a lot of areas we went through, and none of them were relevant to the story. We went to an entire lab. Went to an entire lab where there were, like, mutated people in suits. Or in, like, bio-suits and stuff like that. Where they were experimenting on sorts of things, and then it all broke out, and it's like, oh god, and so on and so forth. That had no relevance to the plot whatsoever. And you're expecting me to think that this sewer level should be most important. But yeah, this game, it just needs a little more clarity. Just a little more, you know, enough to make you realize what's actually happening in a cutscene. And she left because she has terrorism to do. Deep cover environmental terrorist wants bioweapon. Covertly studying / testing during on survivors during game. Make obvious. Please. She got infected with terrorism. Had to use 2 sets of headphones because you used a phone for your Discord voice chat, so you had earbuds and headphones for the actual game. You could barely hear the game. Wow. This is interesting. Do you want me to send you like a headphone splitter? I can send you that. That's the thing. It exists. She left because she saw what happened and then released the zombie plague. Maybe isn't worth selling as a bioweapon. Okay, so sort of change of heart. But by the same token, we killed her? There is where we also went in different directions. I think press skip some bits. But there was the cutscene, right? Don't know what that is. It's okay. It splits signals for headphones. So that you can amalgamate either 2 inputs into one set of headphones or 1 input to go to multiple sets of headphones. It's just a little widget. It's a little... We used to have loads of them back when I was in secondary school. When you needed like 2 students to a computer. We killed her because she didn't want to sell the bioweapon? Yeah, like if she had a change of heart and didn't want to do this anymore, why did she start attacking us? She's like, okay, I'm out of this. Can we leave? Why did you come with us? You're just frequently basically deaf. I mean, so am I, but that's more to do with the way my brain works. We killed her because she got infected with the mutation herself. She infected herself, didn't she? Right? I thought that's what happened. And she cloned herself after infecting herself again and the game broke. Yeah, she did do a jab, so was she already infected before she did that? Again, I'm not clear. This is the main villain of the game, and I'm not clear. I mean, well, it's not necessarily the main villain. The final boss. I guess Suit Man is the main villain, but... Yeah, so confused when there are multiples. I think that was a glitch. There's no real explanation for that. Although it would be cool if there was a zombie that replicated. That'd be kind of neat. Sort of split in half and then reconstituted. That's in Remnant, isn't it? Okay, so we have Harlow. We've got that whole thing going on. We have Suitman. He's... What's his deal? I don't actually know what his deal is. Think so? She made it sound like they experimented on her or something. Is Suitman like Harlow's superior then? Mr. Suitman. Mr. Suitman. MB. I He's businessman. He's evil businessman, right? Well, what's his actual? You need an evil businessman in these things. He's a big weapons dealer guy with all the connections. Right. Okay. So weapons dealer. Weapons dealer. Evil businessman. Evil businessman. The hands in. I don't know how I was going to end that sentence. Hands in pies? Fingers in pies. Hands in pockets. I don't know. He has control over multiple institutions. Multiple people in power, I guess. Because he can sort of leverage the military, but he can also presumably have leverage over the companies that were making the bio stuff, labs. Guess Harlow was meant to get it for him, but she double-crossed him. There's a lot of I guesses. This is my main issue with the story of this game. Like, if it was one of those things where it's like, okay, the story is in there, but you're gonna have to find it, then that would be one thing. But I don't get that impression that it was supposed to be like that. Maybe it was. Maybe it was like deliberately obfuscated narrative. But it doesn't. Yeah, it didn't come across like that. What if Harlow was spying for Mr. Superman because cool bioweapon is good for business, then during the apocalypse decides it isn't worth it? Okay, so that might be what happened. That leads on from the hacker guy in prison. He was trying to find a location for her to steal. Okay, well, in our version, we don't need that. We already know. You do know, Hacker Man was trying to find the info to sell. Cool. In power, uses Harlow to get mutagen. So she reveals, yeah, I'm not actually who you think I am, and then arseholes be arseholes. But then at some point they're like, well, I don't know, she's still a survivor. She might have information on how to take this down. It could be one of those things of like, you did try and steal a bioweapon and then sell it to people who will then use it to destroy the world or whatever. But at the same time, I guess we need to take these people down if we're going to be able to get out here without being nuked. So we do need you. Begrudgingly, we need you on our team. You know, that could be a thing. But like, hey, she reveals this to I remind you, our wonderful group here. So it's not gonna, that news is not gonna go down well. So we can have some conflict there, and maybe it takes some time for the group to come to the realization of like, oh, we don't actually need her. So that's kind of cool. Plot. I'll add that as a plot point. Has change of heart. Seeing. Transformation. Oh wow, that's shorthand I haven't used since uni. I just did that automatically and didn't think about it. Whenever anything ends in shun, just stick the N there. Would love for a character to be in the game to be like, do you guys have to be assholes about it? And the group's like, yes. Just all turn around and simultaneously. Looking it up, you cannot beat her without the mutagen. Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't know whether that was a choice or not, because we seem to be doing pretty good. But then it was just on the table. I was like, being transformation confesses. That's the word I'm looking for. Confesses to gang be the assholes. Gang realize they can use knowledge to, because okay, how about this? This happens after it's discovered that a nuke is going to occur. But the nuke was not done by the military, so the military guy's like, what the hell is happening? Who the hell called that there would be a bloody nuke here, and why did nobody tell me? And then it's discovered that it's business suit guy, Mr. Business, and we're like, okay, well, we've got to take that down, and this is at some point this happens, or maybe it's revealed Harlow is the one who tells us that it's suit guy. You didn't know there was a choice that just kind of happened. I just saw a thing on a table and I picked it up. That's what I've been doing the whole game. They taught me if you see a flashing thing on a table, pick it up. So yeah, I did it, which meant everyone else had to deal with the consequences. So yeah, we discover, probably through Harlow's admission, that it's suit guy who ordered this, and gang flip out. And he's like, okay, well, suit guy basically has de facto control over the military at this point, and they're holed up in a prison or something. I don't know. I don't mind the idea of a prison as like at the end place. I don't see why it should still have prisoners in it, but no, the hotel. They're holed up in the hotel, obviously. Right, they're holed up in the hotel. And yeah, we need to get to them, but you can't. It's a military thing. There's the access codes. There's traps, poison traps, because apparently they poisoned one of the lifts in the first game. So stuff like that, and we can be like, well, Harlow's going to be the one who actually knows how to get there, and also how to, what orders might be needed to say no to the nuke. Yeah, just a dramatic. I know who set off the nuke. Exactly, yeah. Harlow just sort of sheepishly comes out from behind the thing, is like, Mr. Superman is, of course, going to set off a nuke in luxury. Yes, he's going to be at the top of the hotel, in the penthouse, which, is a visually interesting place to have a final showdown. I'm still so amazed we never went back inside the hotel. Well, we did, briefly, but we went, in the offices, in the basement of the hotel. We never went up.
That wasn't necessary of you, but you have my thanks.
Thank you, Wodo Knight. Wodo Knight? Thank you. She was not involved in this conversation, but she was listening, and she's now like, gotta speak up. I mean, either I speak up now or the nuke goes off. So she's like, maybe even it's like, the characters can say that, like, you didn't even do this out of the goodness of your heart, you're doing it so you don't get blown up by a nuke. So there can be some sort of, to stop nuke. And obviously Suitman is intending to fly away in a helicopter to be safe. Everything's grand. And maybe, all those like underground bunkers and stuff like that. Maybe there is actually a connection between the underground bunkers and the hotel. And so the plan is that guy's going to go away on a helicopter. They've reinforced the bunkers underneath the hotel to be able to withstand a nuclear blast. And, they've got enough stuff kitted out to deal with radiation and stuff to be able to be rescued subsequently. So all of that military is going to be able to stay there while that happens, and he flies off and everything's grand. Because I never really understand the situation of like, hey, we've got a whole military on this island. By the way, we're going to nuke it? Have at least some sort of contingency to not kill all your own people. I mean, killing all your own people's fine, but presumably if you say that to like the face of a group of military people, they're gonna have issues. Hotel snob having a fallout bunker makes sense. So, some stuff, some ideas. Maybe he owns the hotel. I don't know. Yeah, stop nuke. Hold out in hotel. Reinforced, protected. Bunkers beneath. Penthouse and helicopter or helipad. Atop. Final mission takes place going up the hotel. That just seems like the most obvious thing in my brain. Military bunkers make John more useful? Yeah, of course he knows. That's his entire life. Yeah, he's been around these islands all the time doing the bunker stuff. Why not? The top. Arlo to get through security and stop nuke. John to navigate. Bunkers, etc. And that's how you would get back into the hotel. John can get us into the hotel through the bunkers. And Harlow can get us through the hotel with its security and such. But obviously she doesn't know everything. And so some traps are tripped and twists and turns. It was like, oh, have you betrayed us? No, I didn't betray you. I didn't know this was going to happen, etc. Drama. We all have some drama. By the way, somebody called Wodo Knight just followed, and we haven't actually explained what we're doing. Hey, there's a couple of games called Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide, and they're a great time to play with friends. But the story is, well, I don't remember any of it. So we're trying to rewrite it in an interesting way. Basically, zombies on island. The zombie apocalypse occurring. You play as 4 assholes. Assholes. Different. And we're trying to work out how to actually have those characters be characters who interact as characters with the character development, and there being a plot that is explained and shown, and has consequences for the characters and vice versa. That's the idea. Falls AU. And his granddad will have helped take some of the old ones, so he might know a thing or two from granddad. Bunkers. Thanks, granddad. Smiley face. Another question you guess is, what do we do with the whole weird cannibalistic tribe with zombie powers subplot? I'm not averse to the idea of there being natives on the island who have a natural immunity to a contagion that exists around here. I'm also not opposed to the idea of a plot involving a lab taking advantage of these people, and maybe you getting tricked into, having a representative from the tribe come and visit so that they can talk about things. Then the next time you arrive, they're in a cage. I feel like that's a neat little story beat. But I feel like it would have been better if it was a little less. Oh, kitten. Dark has posted the cool kitten. You didn't get the point of it. I like the idea that there's an explanation as to why it's on this island. I like the idea of the interaction between. I mean, if you have an island in sort of that region of the world that has a holiday resort on it, some sort of story interaction between the natives and the tourists is probably a good idea. Or not necessarily the tourists, but like the occupiers, as it were. We don't need it necessarily. I don't feel like the tribe was done any favors with their representation in the game, but at the same time, I'm not particularly an expert on tribal island behavior. Being a native tribe that has immunity to this disease is a good reason why they developed a bioweapon in it, but you don't get the whole other bit. Yeah, like I said, I like the subplot of like, oh, you're helping out the lab and they need to talk to the tribe people. It'd be nice that there's a representative. You go get somebody and it's like, oh, hey, people at the lab want to talk to you. It's like, oh, I'm not sure about this. No, it's fine. They're cool. We've done stuff for them before. It's great. And then you take them there, and then the next time you come back, everything's gone wrong and they're in a cage. I think that's a cool twist if done in such a way that the lab the lab immediately doesn't come across as creepy and weird. I feel like if you're tricked into thinking that these people who work in the lab are actually good and trying to help, then that would be a kind of fun twist. That no, actually these people are assholes as well. Careful who you trust. But yeah, I'm not entirely the cannibal side of things. I don't really get. I mean, if they're supposed to have an immunity, why do they do the cannibal thing anyway? It's strange. Less immediately obvious that this is where they developed the bioweapon in the first place. Yeah, my assumption was it's not that it was they developed the bioweapon, but it was there is this contagion that exists in these people, and because of, you know, survival of the fittest, they're just immune to it. It's just not a thing. And people sort of came here, and the natives sort of, they stayed away because, who are these weird people with their stuff? And then the people settled and did stuff, and they were just like, okay, general rule of advice, don't mess with the natives. Leave them alone. They're fine. They're on the other side of the island. Don't mess with them. And it was only when people actually got close enough to mess with them that this contagion came across, and it was like, oh, that's a problem. So I don't mind that as an origin for this thing. It's just a natural thing that exists, and due to the sort of, you know, these people are isolated on this island. They've developed this, you know, immunity to a little disease that got a little stronger to try and fight the immunity, and then their immunity got a little stronger to fight that. Backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. People who have absolutely no exposure to this disease at all step on the island, and oh dear, now it's a problem. You know, it's the there have been plenty of examples of things like that in reverse, right? Of like the people traveling to a different country and the natives catching a disease that people have brought with them. That is not that much of an issue for the people who brought it, but more so for the people who do not have the immune system to deal with it. Yeah, like giving the natives a plague, but in reverse. Exactly. It's just completely circumstantial. It's not like, you know, there was nothing malicious there. They're just like, we didn't realize there was a thing. They don't know anything about diseases. Well, they don't know anything about like contagions and evolution and all that sort of stuff. So I feel like we could probably let go of the subplot involving cannibalism and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, we gave them the common cold, they gave us zombies. That's how it works. And they were mildly inconvenienced by the common cold. Yeah, honestly, we're even. We gave them the common cold and then also took a lot of their land. So, and then they gave us zombies. Again, we're even. So I'm fine with that being an origin story for the thing. It's just this thing happens to exist here in the natives and they're immune to it. We didn't know until we got it. But then it was like, okay, well, let's study this thing. You know, the first outbreak was covered up. Oh, so some people got ill at the hotel resort or whatever. Well, that's fine. Don't worry about it. And then the lab was set up as like, well, let's study this thing, see what it is. And that's how it got turned into an even stronger sort of bioweapon. So maybe it's not like full-blown zombie thing straight away. They were just experimenting with it and made it worse. So I guess labs should be another villain. I want to spell it in capitals because when I think labs, I think the free music software. They tried to do something good, but whoops. Yeah, so labs set up to study contagion on island. Natives immune. Non-natives. Whoops! Zomble. Suitman got involved. I feel like Suitman is just the villain, right? It's nice to have a focused villain. Suitman got involved. The bioweapon became a thing. Villain is capitalism. What is this, an 80s film? I mean, it's zombies, so basically, yeah. As I think it often goes when we make a story, it's a real simple, understandable villain concept. Hey, greed. Greed's thing. Greed's bad. Tale as old as time. I mean, to be fair, we have been more explicit with it in the past, like having a villain called Catpitalism, or Catpitalist, sorry, and the Zebos Corporation. Oh, I missed 16 symbols. That was fun. I guess with Project Via, it wasn't capitalism. It was, but they were merchants, so they were very subtle. Exactly. Maybe only a few of the natives can actually transmit it, but you won't actually know until it happens. Yeah, maybe it's like one of those things where like a lot of the natives, they're immune and their body just kills the thing. But for some of them, they're immune to any symptoms, but they do carry it. Like Typhoid Mary, that kind of thing. You know, they're immune to the consequences, but they do have it. Chaotic Fey capitalism. It was greed for possession, but it was greed for possession of reality. Which is a slightly different angle to take your anti-capitalist story. It doesn't quite, you know, hit home as strongly as the Zebos Corporation. Asymptotic carriers, is that how you say it? Oh, I don't know. I'm aware of the word asymptote from mathematics, but maybe asymptomatic. That's probably what it would be. Yeah, asymptomatic, I think, yeah. Asymptotic is something else. Asymptotic is when you have like a function where like, hey, here's a random line, and then you have a function that goes, whoa, I'm getting closer, I'm never gonna touch it though. That's an asymptote. Anyway. Yeah, experiments happened, someone made a mistake, got infected, didn't tell anyone, then went out in public infecting everyone. Oh, okay, that's, yes. So, the breakout, yes, we can do that. Breakout, lab staff. Oh! How about this? Slight change to how this story goes. Blood type 0, right? Immune to the symptoms. So, staff was blood type 0. Or O, not 0. I don't know. How does blood work? I don't know. How do magnets work? But maybe they can carry it. And so that's why people are more, like, maybe that's why the military are more of, less willing to just have these people walk in. You know, oh, you're one of the immune. Stay back. You might still have the bloody thing. You know? They know that these people can actually have the mutagen inside them just with no symptoms. So lab staff accidentally gets infected. Is asymptomatic. And accidentally, you know, goes to the hotel, has a good time at the party listening to the voodoo song. That'd be interesting, like the entire natives have blood type 0. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. That's not an impossible concept. Lab staff accidentally gets infected. Type O, not type 0. Type O. Type O. And accidentally infects the whole hotel. Note. Type O, asymptomatic. But carriers. So they are actually quite dangerous. How does it actually spread? I don't know. Maybe it's like, maybe it's one of those things. I don't know. I feel like if it's just like generally airborne, then we've got bigger problems. So how could we get it from the lab staff to everyone else in the hotel? Because all we really need is to get one person who has it and then bites someone else, and then there's 2 people that have it, so on and so forth. But we need someone to get it from the lab guy, right? STD. I mean, I don't want to know how we found out we had it from the natives. Blood? Maybe, yes. Maybe they just have, you know, there's a fight in the hotel bar, probably brought on by Logan. Some glass gets smashed, guy gets a cut. Oh god, people come along to help and just soak up the blood and so on and so forth, and then a few people get it. They bite another few people. Grains of rice on a chessboard. So yeah, we can actually. Hey, do you remember the opening cutscene? The opening cutscene where there was like a little altercation in the thing with Logan. Was that Logan you were looking through the eyes of? I don't think so. How was it? Logan knocks someone over the head with a bottle, accidentally starts the apocalypse. Sounds right. It's Logan's fault, and he knows this, but he doesn't tell anyone. It is drunk Logan. Okay. Yeah. Bodily fluids. Yeah. So, no note. Addendum. So, I'm going to just call them asymptotes. Asymptotes spread via body fluids. Patient 0. Or is it patient O? Gets involved in Logan's drunken bar fight. Blood infects patrons. Yeah, Logan is the thing gets spread through bodily fluids, remembers blood at the party because he knocked somebody over the head, and has his one moment of enlightenment. This has no consequence. Yeah, exactly. Knock into Logan, who says, WTF, do you know who the hell I am? Before he knocks him to the floor, then Perna helps him up, and the guy tries to grope her, so she shoves him into the Sam B crowd. Yeah. See, it's cool stuff. And maybe that opening thing could be from the perspective of that guy, and you don't realize till later. Aha! You watched Patient Zero. Gets on stage, the Sambi throws him off, walks by Jean, steals some pills. The only person not to shove them is Jean. Yeah. It'd be interesting. And maybe it's one of those things that, like, initially in the story, nobody really knows that it's the blood. You know, the disease is in the blood, and all that sort of stuff. And then it's worked out at some point in the middle, in the middle of the story, that that's how people got the contagion from these asymptomatic carriers. Your Patient Zero in the opening cutscene, you meet all the heroes and get knocked over the head by Logan, and then whoops is zombies. Yeah, see? I like things like that are set up as a kind of strange mystery that at the end you're like, oh, that's what that was. I mean, working under the assumption that I actually recognize it, because apparently most of this game I forgot. But I did remember that opening cutscene, so. Yeah, what was I saying? Yes, okay, so maybe it's a thing at the beginning, nobody really realizes how people are getting the disease from the asymptomatic people, and then they realize halfway through, oh, it's the blood. And the lab people have been doing some tests or whatever. The ones who are asymptomatic, I guess. You meet patient 0, maybe. And Logan sees patient 0 when they go to the lab at some point. And this is after his realization. He's like, hey, nope. Never mind. Logan's like hiding behind a plant pot during the conversation. Don't recognize me, don't recognize me. You know, most of the time he's like, do you know who I am? And that time he's like, you don't know who I am. Yeah, one moment of shame. That's kind of fun. I like that, actually. Yeah, the most part they don't really think about how it's actually spread. You get bitten, you become zombie, that's all. But then they do like the test halfway through. And when you started up, the opening cutscene could change to a first-person view of them running around biting people and running with hordes of the infected. Interesting. Patient 0 turns out to be a football fan. Brilliant. He's like, no, don't recognize me. But yeah, so they work it out. There's some lab guy. Handwriting's terrible. Just immediately go, oh my god, are you Logan? Logan's like, no. This is a fun scene with characters that builds upon things that happened earlier in the game. That actually has an impact on the story as it goes forward. Scenes, writing, characters, please, that's great. The very end though, Logan should be like, wait, I know that guy. But yeah, yeah, sorry, this is like the fourth time I've attempted to finish this sentence. Keep getting distracted. Me? Distracted? Never. So, the lab people are doing some experiments. They're like, hey, you're one of the asymptomatic people. Do you mind if we take a sample of your blood? We're going to do some tests. Oh, sure, whatever. Try and work out a cure. Great. And they realize, oh, hang on, this is the contagion that's in the blood. The blood is now actually the thing that's contagious. Maybe that's the thing that makes the lab go all bad. And they that information then gets passed to the military people who up until that point have been trying to get these people alive to do the experiments. And now they're like, oh, it's in your blood. We just need samples of your blood. We can do that dead. And that's when the military shifts from being like, try and convince them into the place so that we can do things to, let's just shoot them. We're wearing hazmat suits, we'll be fine. It's the blood. Need you all to know, I've been listening as you draw, and you know nothing of what happened or what is happening. All they know is ASMR and sleep. Oh. I'm glad. I'm glad me attempting to say a sentence 4 times is relaxing. It'd be fun if, like, for the dialogue, only Logan's player can hear. He says, wait, I know that guy. But the rest can't hear that, so they only have the cutscene moment where they see Logan try and hide who he is for the first time. Yeah. Do some fun player-specific perspectives. Because some of the cutscenes in the game were delivered first person, right? So that's an interesting idea. Probably ended up with similar things for all the other characters at some point. Less we need them, in fact, and more we just need you alive so that they could just cripple the heroes. They did in Riptide to save on budget. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, we need the blood to be fresh, so they do need to take you in some form. But yeah. Okay, so we have a general sort of idea for the two main sort of components, who the characters are and how they interact with the story and the villains and so on and so forth. Don't need your kneecaps for blood experiments. If they just need them alive for blood samples, they don't need their legs. Exactly. See, you're both on the same hat. And that's why the character in Darlin 2 has a prosthetic leg. Same kneecap. I was trying to come up with something and I couldn't think of it. Well done. So yeah, we got the general idea. We have these interactions between the four main characters and how they butt heads against each other constantly in their own differing ideologies, and how none of them really learn their lesson, but at the very least they sort of get better at dealing with each other. And those things affect what's actually happening in the story. There are groups of survivors dotted around the island, and you actually protect them, and they have different characterizations, and they have their own side quests that in some way connect with their characterizations, and doing so helps them actually prepare themselves in the event of an attack, so that they're more likely to survive the attack, and all that sort of stuff. You have various different groups of survivors, and some of them have not exactly a rivalry, but you know, if one of them's jealously guarding all the supplies, the other one, they're not going to let anyone else in, and all that sort of stuff. So think of a stronger start for how our characters got pushed together, because as it stands now, you did the tutorial alone, which is all the same, and then whoops, Cinnamon shoves you out of the cabin to fight zombies together. Yeah, I guess so. Do they know that we're immune at this point, or is it just like, oh, fight the zombies? Okay, how about this? Right, we know the hotel eventually becomes the base for the military, right? So is there anything we can do with that as that that's how you get out of the hotel? At the moment you just sort of fall down a lift or something. No, hang on, what happens? I can't remember what happens at the end of the hotel bit. They semi-know? Yeah, we got bit by a zombie and then act normal. Someone gets us out, right, and takes us to the place. I'm wondering if that can be connected to the military hotel situation in some way. And so we sort of get together because we were the ones that they managed to get out of the hotel, but we're also some of the ones who, you know, are asymptomatic, and they're like, well, you deal with the zombies then. They just kick you out of the thing. Your group are like, well, I guess we better try and survive. You run down the hallway, get bit, people save you, wake up with people saying they need to kill you because you got bit. You're like, no, don't kill me, I'm just a little guy. Which somehow worked with Logan. Then Cinnamon shoves you out to kill zombies. Yeah, so I feel like maybe we shouldn't... If this is plausibly going to happen with 4 people all at the same time, we shouldn't probably wake up in a small shack on the beach. Right? Like maybe we already start in the lighthouse, or maybe we start in... You know, that little like island, not island, but the little villa complex that's sort of built on top of the water, various different buildings, and these characters have all woken up in different buildings, and it's like, are these safe? Are they not? We don't know. They got bit, but they seem okay. Oh, Cinnamon's already killing zombies and you had to help him, right? And the show balls on Cinnamon to go out toe-to-toe with zombies not being immune. Well, he doesn't know that. He might be. These guys seem fine. I'll be fine. Nothing like a little delusion. Confidence is all you need. Yeah, maybe he's also... he doesn't know that's the catalyst, or lack of a catalyst. Anti-catalyst. The anti-capitalist anti-catalyst. Taking the P out of anti-capitalist. Oh, that's kind of a joke. Can't be the only 4 people on the island with blood type 0. Exactly. Blood type O. Sorry. Blood type O. Thank you. Why is it O as well? I'm sure there's a good naming system for it. It's like A, B, B, C+, F, O. Horses have like 26 blood types, don't they? I remember hearing that. But yeah, I'm not averse to that general setup of like, we're in the hotel, we try and get out of the hotel. It would be nice, development times, I understand, but it would be nice if each character had their own hotel escape. But it makes more sense that there's more of a concentrated group of survivors that manage to make it to a location, and you all happen to wake up there with a bunch of people that, like, maybe they stuck you all together in the same room because, like, well, these people were injured when we found them, but they're not turning into zombies, so if we just sort of stick them in a room away from everyone else and just see what happens, and then you all wake up stuck in this room, you're like, why are we here? And you hear voices outside going, you might be zombies. I quite like that idea. Who's going to slam Logan over the head the moment they wake up? Everyone. He's not, because he says you're immune, not... you're immune, we're not. Seems like the type of guy who'd mention he's immune and he wants to help people and not worrying about the infection with calm people. How can you know you're immune? How can you know you're not immune? You can know you're immune. How can you know you're not immune? Like, this is before we know about the blood thing, right? They all take turns giving Logan a slap or a kick because he just wants to keep snoozing. Yeah, so I feel like that would be a kind of fun start of, like, all the characters. A bunch of people got rescued from this hotel and got taken to this sort of little on-water island place. And you guys were injured, so they were like, oh, stick them in a room. They're not turning weird, but just stick them in a room. We don't want them with us. And you just all wake up locked in this room. And you're like, oh god, why are we here? Oh, what happened? Did somebody take my kidney? And then you bash your way out of the building and there's zombies everywhere. It's like, oh, okay. You lick a lollipop. If it turns blue, you're immune. If it turns pink, you're a zombie. If it turns green, you're pregnant. If it turns orange, you got COVID. Make us do things because you're immune, but we don't, they make us do things because you're immune, but we don't know if we are. And even if we're going to find out about the blood type thing, it's like, well, I don't know who's immune. Who knows their blood type by heart? Yeah, exactly. I don't know my blood type. What if it turns purple? Then you're a lovely person. Yeah, he stole my joke. I stole your joke, miss. Don't worry, you had the lag of internet latency and typing, so I will happily assume that you would have said it first. Apparently Cinemoy escapes and is in another game, so he lives after everyone dies. What other game? Are there more games? I mean, to be fair, I didn't know this game existed until we started playing it. Dead Island Epidemic. Wait, hang on. Dead Island Epidemic was a game in the Dead Island series of games, a follow-up to both Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide. The game was being developed by Stunlock Studios using the Unity game engine. It was published by Deep Silver. The game has been cancelled. How could it be published if it was cancelled? There are 6 Dead Island games. Epidemic is a MOBA. Okay. Oh, was a MOBA. Oh, that was going to be a MOBA. Apparently Sam B and Sean were there. These people, and where is my daughter? Yeah, Sam B's there. Sean's apparently in there somewhere. There's some other people who look like they're from bloody completely different IP. Everything's gone cartoony for some reason. Made on big apparatus, MOBA. Multiplayer online battle arena? I think that's what it stands for. With League of Legends or the other one. What's the other one? There's two big ones, right? Dota? I don't know. Dota, yeah, okay. Only one Riptide and Escape actually got released, with two finally coming out soon. Escape? Is that like an escape room? I'll play that. Third-person mystery action adventure. 6 months after Dead Island. Was the origins of the virus for a would-be documentarian, Cliff Callow. Switches between fighting and stealth in a shifting world brought to life with edgy, vibrant comic visuals. Well then. Interesting. Was Epidemic, which was cancelled. Dead Island Retro Revenge. Side-scrolling beat-em-up. They really were like, hey, this is a fun idea. Let's do every game about it. Well, it starts off well. Max is living in a trailer with his pet cat, Rick Furry. Game is a side-scroller that scrolls automatically. The only movement options are moving up and down the screen to either attack or dodge enemies, projectiles, and obstacles. Interesting. An auto-scrolling side-scroller? Strange. And then Dead Island 2, which is coming out soon, presumably. Soonish. Yeah, Dead Island 2 was originally announced and unveiled at E3 2014. So they have, it's been a while. Expected release date, April 21st. This year. Nice. Well, let's hope it's fun. I was about to say, let's hope it's good, but, you know, ooh. Yeah, it's got a kind of Borderlands-y sort of visual vibe to it. Borderlands or 13 or something like that. I don't know. That's very Borderlands. But also confusing. Don't know. Well, that's the thing. A bunch of ideas. This was kind of fun. I didn't draw much. I just sort of. That's why I said just chatting stream. Yeah, I mean, we didn't really go into all that much detail with regards to like, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. But we've already come up with a decent skeleton for something that has actual characters and plot, and where events connect to each other in ways that are interesting. And I don't draw. Start again and draw it all. I'll do what I tried to do for Project Via and do little comic storyboard things. Draw your daughter, and that makes you happy. Blap. Falls on you. Part 2. I mean, if we think we can come up with more fun ideas and I'll happily do this again next week and doodle. And do we think this is worth another stream, or do you want me to do the really stupid idea I came up with the other week? I don't know. I feel like there's more to talk about, but at the moment you don't know what. I mean, okay, well, we've got a week. Got a week to think about it. I feel like we don't have to come back to it immediately. We could do it in a couple of weeks, few weeks. You know, or we could just talk about this off stream. Just chat about it in Discord. You know? There's lots of cool ideas here that are worth exploring. But throw this file in Discord. Yeah, I could do that. Then again, we've done, you know, would not be the first occasion in which we've done a Fool's AU and gone, this has lots of ideas, let's develop this and do some cool stuff, and then we never talk about it again. You know, Cheeb writes up a real cool Google Doc so everyone knows where everything is, and then nothing happens. As is often the way. It's the way of things. I always feel bad. Put in the work and don't go nowhere. Ho hum. This is the thing. I should probably also save this. That'll be a good idea. Go saving it in the streams folder, and then in the Fool's AU folder. This is Death Island. Fool's AU. Bada bing, bada boom. Right. Swoosh. Yeah. Tippity tappity. Tip tap. Yeah. That's the stream. An entire stream happened. More poison. An entire stream occurred. It says doodles. I technically doodled. Technically. Okay, so that does work. No, it doesn't. We did it. We did the thing. Oh, that's the point. I need to doodle. Keep clicking the wrong thing. This says Zambling, and it has pictures of us Zambling. That's not happening. They're done into 8-player co-op. Is that confirmed, or? What about this undressed honk? I don't. Who? What? I don't remember that at all. Yes, sorry. Saturday. From the last playtest with journalists. Ooh, lots of people can join and have fun. What about it? Well, it's don't worry. Yeah, Saturday we are going to be doing some war tales, some fantasy group mercenary outcast story fun times with ponies. There will be a pony, at least one, possibly two. I like the quote command, it's fun. So yeah, I will have to do a doodle, probably during the Friday hangout, of us as fantasy people, and maybe me as a donkey. Or just my parsnip character being eaten by a donkey, who knows. Yeah, draw a pony, just draw a pony. Big old pony with big eyes staring at you, longingly. Draw, give me pets. Then Sunday we're going to be doing some sort of doodles with friends. I don't know. What was the Care Bears? Was that randomly generated Care Bears? Some sort of something cursed like that. Use one of the My Little Pony drawings, render it, stick it on there. Right. Baby dance. What? Miss, how dare you abuse your mod privileges? Say such slander and horrible things in chat. Anyway, yes. So yeah, Saturday War Tales. Sunday Doodle times. Tuesday, finishing off Overland, probably. And maybe starting something else? Yeah, who knows? And Wednesday, maybe doing this again, or maybe doing something really stupid, like ranking every British sitcom. We'll see. We'll see. You go behind the scenes and find everything you've all said. Miss has the what's the word? Miss has the thing, the evidence, there's a word, not the power. Dirt. That's it. Miss has the dirt. For some reason, I had the word juice in my head. It's not juice. Miss doesn't have the juice. Juicy dirt. Cannot believe what Sheep said in 2020. They said at the start of the year, "Oh, this year is going to be amazing." Dirt. Smoking gun. That too. Well, it's more of a smoking knife, really. Juicy dirt. Stream's going to end at some point, right? Thank you everyone for coming along. I'll get some music to play us out. Something exciting, thrilling, action-packed. Probably not. Eggy leggy. No, let's play something else. Thank you, Miss. It's always got to be something. Let's play that. I haven't played that for a bit. Yes, so hope everybody has a lovely week. Oh, it's also, assuming no plans have altered, Chibi's stream tomorrow. Always keep, I realised the other day that I haven't actually mentioned that on stream for bloody ages. But yeah, Chibi Nether's Day on the Thursday. Can I believe you cannot spell? Spelling is a myth. You do stream tomorrow. Hooray! More Borderlands. Hooray! Exciting times. Will we see the moustache? Oh, that was the thing. I trimmed my beard today, which I've been meaning to do for about a month, which means it was very long. And one of the great privileges when you're somebody with a beard who gets to trim that beard is you don't trim it all in one go. And you get to try out bits and bobs. And obviously, despite the fact that it was the reason I was shaving it off, obviously I ended with a big old bushy moustache. And I look like big old hipster. With a big bushy moustache, turns out. So a cross between like a hipster and like Jamie Heineman from Mythbusters. Kind of walrus, weird sort of. It makes your lips look bigger. It's strange. I don't know why I shared that. I just thought it was funny. I did take pictures, but they didn't come out very good. It also doesn't have the right impact because I wasn't shaving the beard. I was just trimming it. So you had to be there. Jamie's moustache was glorious. I'm doing a thing with my hands, and if you know what I'm doing, you know what I'm doing. I'm going to stop talking now. Have a lovely time, everybody. Have a great week. I hope it's all good and grand, and you deserve it. Thank you for being here. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you had a nice, relaxing time. And I'm going to shut up now. Goodbye, everybody. Have a lovely time. Bye.